Hi, everybody. One of my fun cases for the festival is going to be the diagnosis of Spitz melanocytoma with p16 expression loss. Thinking about how we make that diagnosis, what we look for, and what we can expect to see. This is a polypoid papule from a 7-year-old. Clinical diagnosis was angioma and shaved by a clinician and then evaluated by a contributor. The stains that you're going to see, all the work was done by the referring laboratory, not by me, although the approach works. First of all, how do we know that we're seeing a tumor of Spitz lineage? Well, two key things. We're seeing large melanocytes and we're seeing surface acanthosis. So we've checked those two boxes. And then additionally, we're seeing camino material in the perijunctional zone. Sometimes it's formed into bodies. Sometimes it's a little bit more globular and papillary dermal. And then lastly, we're seeing fascicular morphology. We're seeing bundles of cells that are often fusiform, could be epithelioid that are longer than we are broad. And so that combination of fascicular morphology, camino material, large melanocytes, acanthosis, those are the morphologic clues that take us to the diagnosis of Spitz lineage. What we're seeing here that's different and tells us that we shouldn't be thinking about a mainstream Spitz nevus is this kind of change. We'll look at a couple of different areas where we see it as well. What we have here is loosening the tissue and pallor. I call it edema, although I don't really know that it is. It certainly has the look of edema. And then you can see there's some fibrin deposition as well. And then concurrently, there's this crumbling configuration in nests. And it's that combination of edema, fibrin, and crumbling of nests that morphologically correlates with the consequences of CTK and 2A inactivation or loss. And so right away we're concerned that this is a partial transformation situation, meaning that this is a two-step tumor. It was initiated by gene fusion, and then subsequently there was an inactivation of CDK and 2A. We're going to run through a couple of immunostains quickly. This is not the p16 immunostain. This is a p67. It's a monoplex p67, but you can see that it's got elevation in the areas where there's inflammation. It's got elevation in the areas with large Spitz melanocytes. This is a non-specific finding. There's no specific cutoff that tells us when to worry about a Ki67. We have a PRAME immunostain that shows a lot of positivity. Actually, I misspoke. This is a p16 immunostain. And so you can see that it's showing us two cellular patterns. First, we have the fascicles of Spitz melanocytes with retained expression. So these are presumably remnants of pre-existent gene fusion Spitz nevus. And then you can see concurrently that the vast majority of the tumor shows p16 expression loss and represents Spitz melanocytoma. And then the last stain is PRAME. And so in this PRAME immunostain, there's a lot of positivity. Remember that in consultation practice, it's very common to see Spitz nevi with PRAME expression. Spitz melanocytoma commonly has PRAME expression, and Spitz melanoma can have PRAME expression as well. So there's no discriminative value in completing PRAME immunostaining for this kind of case. So if we jump back to where we started, we can see a polypoid Spitz tumor with a pattern of perijunctional edema, and that's the morphologic configuration that we want to look for when we're making a conventional histopathologic diagnosis of Spitz melanocytoma with p16 expression loss. A tumor like this, since it's partially transformed, it requires a re-excision. I usually shoot for something in the vicinity of MIS-like margins. And for a tumor like this in a pediatric setting, a margin of 3 to 5 mm, that's a clinical margin of 3 to 5 mm, is probably a reasonable target to have.